everybody. I'm pretty sure we're live. I'm waiting on confirmation, and while I wait for Rachel to let me know, I'll introduce you to Reverend Michael Carter. Thank you so much for being here, sir. Tell everybody what you do now and your accomplishments, and say hi, and we'll get started.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here. I am the minister at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation here in the Swananoa Valley, which is in western North Carolina. I serve that congregation. I also teach diversity and anti-racism education. I've been recognized by President Clinton for my efforts, which I'm very proud of. And I'm also the proud father of an 11-year-old. And that keeps life full. I just turned 60 in July. And boy, did that go quickly. And yeah. I'm just enjoying my life. Oh yeah, it's a great age.
It really is.
It's a great age. Yeah. And I think, boy, I used to be 11 years old at one time.
Man, time does fly.
It does, man. But well, I'm enjoying my life.
Great. I'm glad to hear it. I know of course, we've seen you on Ancient Aliens also, and I know my viewers want me to ask you about that first, so I'm going to knock that out pretty quick. But so if you will, we also had we've interviewed a couple other guys from Ancient Aliens before, and one thing I always ask them is just, how did that happen for you? And if there's anything you want to tell us about that, go ahead.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, it was very interesting. I was working at a hospital as a chaplain, and I get a call, and boy, I forget the producer's name. Anyway, he said that he was calling from Hollywood, California, and he said, I have a book here called Alien Scriptures, and I've read your book, and I wanted to know, would you like to be on the show? And of course I said, of course I would. And it just happened. Well, there are no coincidences, but it was just seemingly out of the blue. And I was a consultant there for a couple of seasons. It was a great experience. I was very impressed, but also pleasantly surprised, because shows like that. I also do a show called UFOs, The Hidden Evidence on the American Heroes channel. But maybe 20 years ago, people would have laughed that show off the screen, maybe 20, 25 years ago. But they're still going strong. I mean, they've been on for like 12 or 13 seasons, which means that there's a shift in the consciousness of people who are saying, this is not fringe, this is legit.
Definitely.
And I love that. I love that people take this seriously, because when I first started talking about this 20 some years ago, I would never talk about my own experiences. I would just talk about research, because it can cost you jobs. I had a friend tell me once, I told her about my experiences, and she said, Michael, I don't know what to make of that. I believe you, but if you want to have a career as a professional clergy person, you should never tell that story again. And here I am 25 years later, being very public with it.
Yeah, and I've heard that from so many people, that they always were afraid to talk about it, but now it's almost common now. Everybody has their own experience, and everyone you talk to will let you know that what they've seen and stuff. So that's a good leeway. Well, first off, before I go into that question, because that's going to be a great question for you. Let me ask you this. So you have other books. Why don't we just, at the start, go ahead and tell people what books you've done, and we'll go ahead and drop links over into the chat so they can check them out, and hopefully you viewers out there will decide to get a couple, because they're great. But go ahead and let them know, sir.
Okay. The first book is called Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible. This was my master's thesis, and I just expanded it. The second book I had written is called A New World If You Can Take It, God, Extraterrestrials, and the Evolution of Human Consciousness. So both of these books deal with UFOs and religion and what that means for us as human beings. The third book I wrote, because I just didn't want to be seen as, oh, he's the UFO minister, I wrote a book called God Consciousness. It's a month-long handbook of daily spiritual practices and reflections. And they're from, don't be afraid of the word God. I'm not using it in the traditional sense of some man up in the sky. But it's a 30-day meditation manual. Last but not least, I wrote a book called The Metaphysics of Spiritual Healing and the Power of Affirmative Prayer. And it is about how our mind and our consciousness, if we can shift that, we can change our whole reality. And I wanted to talk about prayer in a way of affirming what we already have, as opposed to begging, dear God, please give me this. Dear God, please give me that. I wanted us to grow up, if you will. And so I use some techniques there that I think are well worth trying out.
You know, it's just like you said earlier. I don't know if we were on the air. We might have been, and you said that there are no coincidences, and I fully believe that. But you know, I've actually been thinking about this for weeks now, and I haven't talked to you up to today. So that's so synchronistic in a way, because I've been examining the way that you know, there's in the last couple of weeks there's been some trials for me and Rachel, and I've been praying on it, she has, and I was examining the way I pray, and I noticed that I do that a lot. I'll kind of ask for what I need more than being thankful for the sheer fact that I'm here and what I have. So definitely I've noticed that about myself a little.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is this, and you know, and don't be hard on yourself, because we've been taught this from when we were young, at least here in the West, and so sometimes it's more difficult to break an old habit than it is to learn a new one. But I mean, you know, when for instance, when you need money, right? We focus on being broke, but quantum physics tells us that what you focus on, you create. So why not focus on abundance? Why not focus on you know, prosperity? If you want peace in the world, you don't focus on war. You focus on being peaceful. You focus on the outcome you want to have. But we've been taught just the opposite. We focus on lack. We focus on violence. And then we just create more of it. So it's counterintuitive in some ways. Definitely. But the mind is powerful. So what you focus on, if you want peace in a relationship, you focus on how do I make that happen. You don't focus on the discord and the disharmony. That's already there.
Yes, and I've noticed that in my life. I noticed a big difference when I did start working on how I prayed. I've seen results, and it definitely wakes you up to some things when that happens.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I know you've appeared on Japanese television before, and there's so many other things you've done. So, you know, I've loved what you've done on what you said and showed on Ancient Aliens, but also so many other things you've done in your life. So, if you want to tell us just about anything else, and I'm interested in, you know, on what happened when you went on Japanese television. So just let us know about that stuff, if you will.
Well, that was very interesting. Actually, when I was living in Brooklyn with my girlfriend at the time, who later became my wife, my second wife, they came and they talked to both of us. I probably still have the conversation on a VHS. I mean, they came with their camera crews in this little apartment. But again, they were fascinated with the combination of religion and science being UFOs. Because one thing, if you look at the UFO phenomenon, these beings, not all of them, but they found the balance between all this technology, whether they can travel between dimensions or time travel, or certainly they can come into your room while your doors are, I mean, they just have this technological thing very, very well in place, but they also have a deep spirituality. And that's fascinating because here in the West, we still, it's changing, I want to be clear, but we still look at religion and science as two distant cousins who never speak to each other. But now, as we are in going into the second decade of the 21st century, we see that they both complement each other. And they were very fascinated with that. So am I. And that was one of the things that we talked about. When I talk about the possibility of these beings being in the Old Testament, which we call the First Testament, the Second Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran, our ancestors are talking about beings who came down from the sky, but their technology, and they're using the nomenclature, they're using the vocabulary of their day, they were godlike to our ancestors. They were like gods because they had this technology. And so I think that it's crucial that we keep that in mind. I'm not saying that angels don't have wings. So whoever's listening, because I know people say, I've seen angels, they do. But all I'm saying is, in the Bible, they're never talked about as having wings. I think our ancestors put wings on them to let us know they could fly. But they obviously, some of them look very human-like. You can't tell the difference. So I found all of this really, really fascinating. And for people who, I'm not saying there is no God. If you believe in a God, fine. If you don't believe in a God, fine. I no longer believe in a God that's a man up in the sky, you know, calling the shots and pulling strings. I think of it more as an intelligence, as an energy. I do believe in something greater than myself. But I think that the universe is teeming with life, and that it's hubris to think that we're the crown of creation, that we're alone in the cosmos. I find that really hard to believe.
I agree with everything you just said, and I find it just so cool that we have these dialogues now, because it's just it's going to echo out. More people are coming to realize this. I picked up all those ancient books and read them myself, and I thought the exact same thing, and I thought I was alone, and I started realizing that a lot of other people think the same. So it's excellent to hear. I know you were awarded or congratulated. Well, what happened with Bill Clinton? Because that, you know, I really admired the fact that he recognized you and you were awarded, and I don't know much about that part of it. So yeah, let me know about that.
Okay, with the Unitarian Universalist denomination, I was trained as an anti-racism and diversity trainer. And I used to fly around with other people from churches. The churches would call us in. They would say, we need some help here. We need some training here. How can you help our congregation, you know, deal with some of these issues around race and difference? And so I was in Ridgewood, New Jersey. I was still living in New York at the time, and I had been to Denver, I had been to Jersey, you know, but I was at this church, and they asked me, it was a very wealthy congregation, and I did a 3-day workshop with another trainer, and so we had Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, I spoke in front of the congregation. Well, when I got back to New York that week, there was a letter from the White House. There was someone from the White House who was attending the church that Sunday, and they heard me speak. And I got this letter congratulating me and, you know, just encouraging me to help build, because I was helping to build a bridge. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a letter from Bill Clinton saying, you know, it was a form letter, but he had written specifically, it had the White House seal and all that on there, saying thank you for what you did. That's great. And for what you do. Yeah. So that really meant a lot to me.
I'd be framing it and hanging it on my wall.
I know, I have, and it's over there. I send it out with my resumes when I have to do that kind of work, when people ask for a bio. But yeah, it was beautiful.
So cool. Okay, so I wanted to personally ask you a few things. Like, I know that we have mentioning in the Bible of what a lot of people say are possibly extraterrestrials, and I've read the Book of Enoch and a few other books. So I didn't know if you could just generally talk to us about that subject, and then we could go a little deeper into it as we go there.
Well, my contention is I just happen to have the Book of Enoch right here. My contention is that every place you see the word angel, if you put star person, I don't like the word alien. If you put extraterrestrial, it makes more sense. And that's what I thought about. And the Book of Enoch, as you know, is a more in-depth telling of the story in Genesis 6, when the sons of God came down to the earth and they made it with women. The sons of God were extraterrestrials. And the Book of Enoch goes into that even more. And Enoch was a scribe for these star people. And so I started looking at, the Exodus story. Very important story, because there's no Hebrew religion until after the Exodus. And the Hebrew slaves, these people, they escaped from Egypt. They're following something up in the sky. They call it the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. Now, we know in modern times, at night, sometimes these discs glow. So to the ancient ancestors, it looked like fire. And it's the pillar of cloud by day. We also know that some UFOs camouflage themselves in cloud cover, or they produce a kind of mist. And so I'm saying that our ancestors were following this. It hovered when they broke camp. It stayed above them, and in the morning, it fed them. And then in the morning, they got up, they packed up, and they followed this thing. And so it is a UFO. It's unidentified, and it's flying. When we talk about, and I'm jumping around here, when we talk about Ezekiel, okay, remember he talks about what he's at the river Shabar in the 5th century BCE, and he describes it. Well, Joseph Blumrich, who was a NASA scientist, he's dead now, engineer, he took the description of what Ezekiel talked about, and you can go online and see it, and he drew the diagram, and it was a ship. He copyrighted it. But if someone wants to go, just Google the spaceships of Ezekiel. When they talk about flying chariots, okay, I think that they're trying to say in their language that there is a machine that is flying, but they don't have the vocabulary, so they describe it as a chariot. They describe it as a pillar of cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night. I would say that in the New Testament, the Star of Bethlehem may very well have been a UFO, right? Because it's flying, they're following it, the wise men. It stops. We know stars don't shine lights down on mangers, right? A star cannot do that. A star cannot stop and start. If it did, the whole gravitational pull of the earth, you want to talk about floods and tsunamis, but a ship can. Definitely. So that's where I'm going with this, and it's in all cosmologies, Native American cosmologies, China, Buddhism, obviously Hinduism. They all talk about beings who come down with teachings, with extraordinary powers, who are trying to tell the people of Earth how to live a different type of lifestyle.
Most definitely. And I've read through the book of Ezekiel. I think it said there were one passage of the Bible said rings inside of rings. I remember hearing that. And then I know in the book of Enoch they talk about the levels of heaven, and they go in depth describing angels and these beings that are in these different places. Do you have anything to add on the Book of Enoch itself? Because a lot of the people in the chat are bringing up these different parts of the books and stuff.
The only thing I would say about the Book of Enoch is that Enoch is the scribe. He doesn't die. He's been around these beings. I would say, and they even give the names of some of these beings. Now, a lot of people say, oh, these are the fallen angels. These are of Satan. I don't know if that's really true. In the Book of Enoch, these angels teach human beings about astronomy, about astrology, about how to make weapons for defensive purposes in war. They talk about crystals and rocks and metals. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. What I think is this: we simply were not able to handle it. They were giving us technology, and much like today, we don't have the spiritual maturity to handle the technology. We see it now. We have drones. Now, we could use all that technology to replenish the earth, to feed the hungry, probably to do something about climate change. But what do we do with it? We make weapons of war. Okay, so we don't have the spiritual maturity to handle the technology that we have. And if we're not careful, we're going to destroy ourselves.
Yeah, very true. And it does seem like we focus on the wrong things. You know, we put millions or billions of dollars into researching, you know, physics and particle colliders, and we put billions into the space program, and we still have people hungry on the earth. So I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. It's an interesting time to be alive. And I'm not against technology, believe me. I'm just saying that just think of the things we could do with it besides, you know, to change the way you look at things. The things you look at begin to change. And so when I want to focus on, and it's not positive thinking. This is not putting your head in the sand and making pretend, you know, I have cancer. If I just think positively, it'll go away. It may not go away, but it certainly will change your outlook. You may learn lessons. When I worked as a chaplain, I met people who had cancer. Some of them said it was the best thing that could have ever happened to them. Why? Because it woke them up. But that means they had a change in consciousness. So, spiritual healing is about changing your mind about a situation. Now, there's a difference between healing and being cured. You could have a disease, for instance, and go on and die and go on to the next level of your journey, and you can be healed. You can be at peace. You can be cured of something and walk out of the hospital, but because of negative thinking and bad attitudes, you'll be right back there in a couple of days, weeks, months, or years. And so, and when you're talking about this, when I talk about the word spiritual, I'm not talking about some mystical woo-woo where I'm levitating and, you know, I'm talking about the cultivation of an inner life, your ethics, your morals, your inner peace. How do you develop that? So what I linked that to was prayer. And this is not new. None of this stuff. I mean, they talk about this in the Unity Church or religious science churches. But we can be transformed, like Paul said, by the renewing of our minds. So instead of, when I pray, I don't always ask for something. I'm thankful. I affirm something. So in other words, I may say, I thank you for this day, for this healthy body. I know that my needs will be taken care of. I know that I have a home. I have health. I have a lovely family. In other words, I'm affirming what I have. And once I appreciate what I have, more will come. More will come. Here's one of the things I've written in, they're more like affirmations. This is, I accept my life. I am at peace, for my needs have been and always will be taken care of. I accept my past as part of my learning process. I look forward to the beautiful and the good manifesting in my life. I am never without my good, for God, however I conceive that, is always with me. I rejoice that all my needs are being supplied in abundance, and I am grateful. Right now, I accept my life. Now, that's a much more powerful prayer, and you can read it or you can pray it, But that's a much more positive prayer than, dear God, I need money. Please help me. Please don't let this happen to me. Please, because you're focusing on what you don't want. You've got to focus on what you do want. And you can train your mind to do that. I'll give you another example very quickly.
No, definitely.
Okay. There is one life. There is one universal principle, one power and presence in the universe. There is one spirit that is called God. That spirit is in me and with me right now. I am because God is. Everything I need is taken care of. If more money is needed, more money will be there. If a healing is needed, a healing will be there. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. And that life is my life now. I have a list of prayers in the book. I go step by step how to do this affirmative prayer. I encourage people to do it. And you'll see the changes in your life. Because you're affirming what you already have. And then you're open to the good that comes. The other prayers are coming from fear.
You know, I've actually experienced this. You know, there's a little part of me that said to myself, you know, like, wow, I wish I would have been this way for a much longer time. And but I mean, you become so thankful of what you have, and you just see that more things happen for you. You know, I'm a firm believer in appreciating what you have in the positive part of life. But so what I want to ask though is, I mean, we see a lot of, you know, we see so much stuff going on around us. We see a lot of hate and just these rallies, and it seems like there's a lot of negativity around. Is there other things people can do to kind of just maybe live that example and you know, focus on bettering their lives? What are some other things people can do to kind of help them?
Well, the biggest thing that I've done, there's a wonderful quote by the mystic Rumi who says, when I was young and clever, I wanted to change the world. Now I realize I just need to change myself. One of the biggest things you can do to have inner peace is to mind your own business. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. As long as you're walking your talk, that's all that matters. People get angry because they think 8 billion people are all going to agree. That's not realistic. It's not realistic. You can seek out people who believe like you and think like you, but mostly there are people who don't. And those people teach us how to love. They teach us how to forgive. They teach us how to accept. The only person you can change is yourself. And once I started not only thinking that way, because I knew it intellectually, once I started living it, my life became much more peaceful, less stressful. I enjoyed my life more. I can't control what other people do. And people have a right to be wrong, just like I do. They have a right to make their own mistakes. But now the things that I can help, I do. If I can teach people about how to get along better racially or diversity, well, I do that. I volunteer. I feed the hungry every Wednesday at another church. Though I'm not saying you don't do that, but that's all you can do. You cannot change other people. The only thing you can do is change yourself. And once you grasp that, life is a whole different way. Because most of us, we really want other people to behave the way we think they should behave, to act the way we think they should act. And that's just not realistic.
Yeah, and it disappoints people. It's setting yourself up for disappointment if you're worried what other people are going to do. I mean, it's just not a good way to go about things. First, no,
you can suggest things to people, but once you suggest it, if they use it, fine. If not, that's okay. But we get upset because we want. It's like giving a gift with strings attached. If I give you something, once I give it to you, I don't care what you do with it. But if I give it to you and then you don't use it the way I think you should, or you don't act the way I think you should act, then that's not a gift at all.
Very well said. A new world, if you can take it in the evolution... Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped God, extraterrestrials, and the evolution of human consciousness. Can you tell us a little bit about that book in general, but also the part where it says the evolution of human consciousness? I know you've hit on some of that already, but you know, if you can, I'd love to hear about that.
Well, basically, it's part 2 of the first book on extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible, and I'm talking about that now. Okay, I'll use for an example. It's happened in Europe. But there are a lot of people in our country now who they don't go to church. They're unchurched. They're called nuns. They don't have a denomination or religion for that matter. And I think a lot of that is because they're not looking at God as the big Santa Claus up in the sky. They're knowing that maybe it's a little more complicated or less complicated than that. So now our attitude about God has changed. It's not a man up in the sky. Maybe it's an energy, but it is an intelligence. Call it what you will. The extraterrestrial part is that we're not alone. It's pretty clear now that we are not alone in the universe. The evolution of human consciousness is how we've come to accept it. That now we know that you know, these shows like Ancient Aliens, UFOs, the Hidden Evidence. It's mainstream now. People can talk about seeing the life after death. People talk about psychic phenomenon. They're not always, oh, that's from the devil. That's too occult. That we realize that life is more than we could ever imagine. Now we're saying, okay, you may be different from me. You may look different from me. You may have a different sexual orientation than me. You may be less well off or more well off than I am. But there's still something that connects us. We see the Charlottesville incident, but we also see people coming together in Houston. We see people saying, okay, I may not have a lifestyle, or I may not be homosexual or lesbian or transgender. That may not be for me, but you have a right to be happy. You have a right to be happy with your partner. I mean, these are big changes. You may not like the... we had a man of color as president. We almost had a woman. We'll probably have a woman at some point. You know, these are big things that are going on. But if you're still focusing on the other stuff, you miss it. You'll miss it. We're talking about what kind of country do we really want to be? We're talking about the Confederate flag. We're talking about these statues. Okay, this is a dialogue. Okay, it's a new world being born. Did you ever think we'd be talking about this stuff? Gay people being married. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, the point is, look at what's going on in the world around us, all over the world. We're talking about universal health care. Okay, all the industrialized nations have universal health care except for the United States. People are saying, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this picture. We're talking about economic equity. Man, this is a great time to be alive. Are there some bumps in the roads? Of course there are. But when a new world's being born, you're going to have that. Because the old guard, they're going to hold on for dear life. People just don't give their power away. They don't say, okay, let's all sing Kumbaya. No, they're going to hold on, but there's a new world being born. Who was it? Victor Hugo says, there's nothing as important as an idea whose time has come. And so there may be a glitch, but life always moves forward. You can't go backwards. Make America great again. For who? For what? What does that mean? You can't go back. You can learn from the past, but life doesn't go backwards. Life goes forwards.
Very true. What do you, so I wanted to ask, I had a thought kind of, what do you think are some factors that have led to us getting to this point where we do have these conversations and these these ideas. Do you think the internet had a big play in it, or is there other parts of it you think that we may not realize? I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Yes, I do think technology has made the world a neighborhood. As Dr. King says, we want it to be a brother and sisterhood, but it is a neighborhood. And so we're connected. We always were, but now we're really connected with technology. And I think that information, when it's used correctly, can be wisdom. I'm not saying information in and of itself. So we can talk to each other more. We can exchange ideas. So I think that has a great deal to do with it. And so the spirituality of the planet is changing. I don't know how long that's going to take, but it's human evolution. It goes slow, but it does happen. Technology, I think, when it's used correctly, has been and will continue to be the bridge that divides us. It will help to bridge that, yes.
Definitely. Okay, so there are some pretty big conspiracy theories out there about some certain things. I wanted to ask you about one. Do you think that possibly the UFO presence and what we're seeing, is it possible, in your opinion, maybe a little bit of the technology is being hidden from us, or do you think that you know, that conspiracy holds no merit in your opinion?
No, I'm into conspiracy theories because there's a lot of truth in them. Yeah, I mean, listen, if we're just going to talk about the UFO phenomenon, I would say, I don't know why. I think we even have cures for cancer and stuff like that. But you know what? If someone had a cure for cancer, you know how much money it would cost people? That's $1 billion industry, isn't it? I would say, well, you see all these countries, Brazil, Mexico, Australia to a degree, the United Kingdom, USSR, well, we call them Russia, Soviet Union. They've released some of their UFO files. United States is the only country that continues to say they don't exist. But yet, we have top secret documents. Why do you have top secret files on something that doesn't exist? Ray Charles can see that there's something wrong with that picture. And so I think that there's, I give an example. I knew some people, they're older now, they worked in the government in technology. And, you know, the government started the internet. But the government had an internet about 25, 30 years before it became public. So just think what else they're holding back. I mean, these drones and everything that can stop and start, and they look like ships, some of them. If you don't have your binoculars, you can mistake them. Where's this technology coming from? And this is just what they're telling us they have, you know? And they sell it to Lockheed Martin, and, you know, so there's money involved too. But yes, they know so much more than they are letting on. I will say this, though. People talk about disclosure. Disclosure is already happening. Shows like this, experiencers like myself and other people. And Dr. Stephen Bassett, I love that brother. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing. But disclosure's happening. People think that disclosure is going to be when Trump or whoever's president goes on the White House lawn and says, guess what, folks? We're not alone in the universe. You may die and come back 5 times before that happens. But it's already happening. People in the military, airline pilots, people who are at Roswell, national security people making deathbed confessions. We're already told that it's happening. It's just not happening the way some people think it's supposed to happen. But we're looking for it to happen in a blue box, and it's coming in a red box from over here, but we're missing it. It's disclosure's happening all around us.
Yeah, a lot of people do say that, and it does make perfect sense. I wish more people would open their mind to the fact that, you know, it's already right in front of us.
Yeah, but people want a politician to tell them to affirm them. I don't need anybody to affirm me. I know what I saw, and I know what happened to me.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you about your personal experiences that have happened to you. Anything you've seen UFOs, and maybe going into that a little bit.
Well, as I write in my book, the first like, and the temperature changed. Now remember, I'm on the 15th floor of the Excelsior Hotel, which is still there. I was just in New York back in July and August, and I felt like I was outside. It felt like I was outside. When I pulled the covers down, nobody was there. And this kept happening every full moon and every new moon, so twice a month.
Wow.
For about 6 to 8 months. And then years would go by and I wouldn't see them at all, and then they come back. And I went, of course, to a mental health professional, right? Because I thought that I was off the deep end. But I wasn't off the deep end. And then I wound up going to a support group. I got hypnotized by the late Bud Hopkins and the late Gene Mundy. They let me know I wasn't crazy. Well, by the time Bud and I got together, I knew I wasn't crazy, but it was happening. And it just changed my whole outlook on life, on religion especially. Because remember, I was raised Baptist in the African American church tradition. That went out the window. I felt like I was more intelligent. I started needing less sleep. I started having some psychic things going on. I was less fearful. I lived my life with less fear, which means I was learning to love more. Now, I was always scared when they came. They never really did anything to hurt me. On one occasion, something happened to hurt me, and I said, you can't do it anymore, and they didn't. But they never really hurt me, but it changed my life.
Wow.
And I choose love more often than I choose fear now. Now, I was doing stuff on my own. I was in therapy. I was meditating. It wasn't just they touched me and all of a sudden spiritual growth takes work. But there's the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Mm. And when they came, I just opened up. I started doing hands-on healing. I started doing Reiki. Okay? I had a practice in New York. I have a little practice here now. I started meditating more and having psychic experiences, premonitions. I started paying more attention to my dreams. It's been a wonderful journey. It's also been a scary journey because the unknown is always, as you were telling me before, well, actually, Rachel was, coming out public like this. Scary. You can lose your job. People may think you're crazy, but I don't care. I didn't care then, and I don't care now. Yeah. I'm 60 years old. I don't have time to care.
Yeah, I think that's helped a lot of people. I mean, we've seen you on television on many places, and people love hearing your story. And then to see that you are fearless, that you say it, and to hear the message that you're giving it, I think it really helps people. And I think there's a big change coming, and I'm happy to be a part of it in some way. However we can. I try to tell people all the time, create anything you can do, even if it's your knitting, how-to knitting videos. Just go do something, because
if you want to do something, go volunteer somewhere, because we all have problems, and I don't want people to hear. There are people out here starving. There are people out here hungry. There are people out in Syria. There are people right here in the country. Now we've just seen these two catastrophes. So I don't want to say, oh, let's just all sing Kumbaya. But there's some things you can control, and there's some things you can't control. Find out what you can do in your area, in your neighborhood. It doesn't have to be, it could be writing a check. It could be going to a soup kitchen. Be the change that you want to see in the world. You want more peace? Be peaceful. You want more love? Be more loving. You want more forgiveness? Be forgiving. You create it yourself. You don't wait for someone else to do it for you, because you'll be disappointed.
So tell us a little bit about you know, you're in North Carolina, you said, and you're working for, you know, did you say you're a minister? I don't want to say it the wrong way.
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah, I know, I'm a minister. Yeah. Okay. I'm a minister. I went to one of the top seminaries in the country. I went to Union Theological Seminary in New York. I got my master's degree there. I mean, that's my life. I'm a minister, you know, and I do what ministers do. You know, I visit the sick. I have services on Sunday like all ministers do. There's some pastoral care. But I enjoy my life at the same time. You know, I don't need a lot to be happy. I'm not a very wealthy person. I live modestly, but I still enjoy my life. I have a wonderful daughter. Her mom and I get along pretty well. I have a lot to be thankful and grateful for. I don't worry about things I can't control. You know, the Dalai Lama said a wonderful thing. He said, and it's common sense. He said, if something can be done about a situation, why worry? And if nothing can be done about a situation, why worry? And I know it's not being callous. It's just about knowing what you can do. And so I can always try to change myself. But I don't tell other people what they need to do. I can suggest, well, maybe this may work, maybe that. But after that, that's it. I'm just trying to get my life together. I can't tell you how to live yours. And besides that, people will see. I know people, they go to church every Wednesday for Bible study. You know, they're at the shul, they're at the temple on Shabbat, you know, on Friday. They're at the mosque. They're in church every Sunday. But some of them are the most vengeful people I've ever met. But yet, they're doing all the things. I don't care what people say they believe. I know what you believe by how you treat me. That's it. Okay, by their fruit you shall know them. I don't care. People can say, "Oh, I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Quaker." I love it. That's wonderful. But I'll know what you believe by the way you live, by the way you treat the earth, by the way you treat your neighbor. That tells me what you believe. I can tell you I believe anything.
So what do you think about? Okay, I ask a lot of people that come on the show. You know, there's a lot of talk about in the ancient texts and even now about a historical kind of like battle between good and evil. I always try to ask everyone that comes on what they think about that, just generally speaking. In my opinion, I always feel like every day when I wake up, there's little choices I can make, and it seems like every single choice has an option that seems happy or positive, and it always seems like there's a negative option. What do you have to say about, you know, the concept of the battle between good and evil in our lives, and anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, I don't believe in good and evil. That's a very Western concept. It's black or white. It's either or. Mm-hmm. I find that life is both and. Every ending is a new beginning. A lot of people talking about all the hurricanes and the earthquakes and, oh, Lord, Jesus is going to come back. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But the point is that for every ending is a new beginning. Because life is a circle. It's not linear. That's why I love Taoism. You've seen the symbol of the Tao. Oh, yeah. There's a little dark in the light and a light like in the dark. That's more like what life is. In every scenario, there's something. If there's something negative, you know, Shakespeare says there's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. But there's a little positive. In every positive, there may be a little negative. But I don't use those concepts of black and white and evil and good, because, okay, let's say you believe in God, right? Well, either God is God or God is not. It's not a big scoreboard where the devil 6, God 5, okay? A house divided against itself can't stand. Now, for people who do believe that, bless you. If it works for you, keep it. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. It used to, but it doesn't work. And so the thing is that every day there's a new beginning. Every day there's change. So life is never ending. Now, I don't care. People say, well, what about Hitler? Hitler was a soul like we all do, that we all have life lessons. Your soul comes here to learn lessons, and then it goes back, and it keeps going and going. Yes, there is reincarnation. It was in the Bible. It was taken out. The Hebrews believe in it. Native Americans believe in it. Hindus believe in it. Most spiritual paths will talk about reincarnation. No, not that you come back as an ant or a turd or a duck. No. But the soul perfects itself through each lifetime. And so when you see that, you know that what goes around comes around. So if I take a life in this life, I'm probably going to have to pay that debt in another one. I may pay it in this one. If I love somebody, it's going to keep coming back to me. I feel that's more of a mature way than to say, you know, because if you believe in a devil and a God, then they're controlling your life, then you're not being responsible. They did that to me. I had no control over that. I don't believe in that. We're all accountable.
That's such an interesting concept there, you know. Like I do always have a problem when I hear people say that, you know, like everything bad that happens to them, they blame it on something. And yeah, it does seem like it could stop our growth a little. It could make us maybe lose focus on the way we can learn from it, for sure. So I just heard you mention a book concept that was taken out of the Bible, and I ask people a lot too. What do you think about other books or other concepts that have been changed in the Bible or taken out since ancient times? What's your opinion there? And maybe what are some that you others that you think are important for us to focus on?
I think this. Okay, I'll give an example from the New Testament. Jesus is on the way to Jerusalem. It's not going to be a good week. Okay, it's Holy Week. And on the way there, he asks, it's in Matthew, he asks his disciples, who do you think I am? Who do people say that I am? Some of them say, you're John the Baptist. No, you're Elijah. Now remember, Elijah lived thousands of years ago, before Jesus. How could Jesus be Elijah? Some people say, you're John the Baptist. Well, John the Baptist was just beheaded a few months before that. There was one more, Jeremiah, Elijah. And then Peter allegedly says, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God, and so on forth and so on. My point is, if Jesus is saying, if these people are saying you were Elijah, you were John the Baptist, that's reincarnation, is it not? Mm-hmm. They're saying you were there, you were Elijah, now you're not. Some people say you're John the Baptist, okay? And that's what's called reincarnation. Jesus didn't say, oh man, that's the sickest thing I've ever heard. He just went on. He didn't say, no, that's not true. Okay, for those people who can't wrap their minds around that, another story in Matthew. The disciples are trying to heal a blind man. They can't do it, so they go to Jesus. And they say to Jesus, Master, who sinned? This man or his parents, that he was born blind? You remember that story. Mm-hmm. How could the man sin unless he lived another life?
So true.
Yeah, they say, who sinned? Did this man sin or did his parents sin that he was born blind? Huh. That's reincarnation. That's what they're talking about. In other words, did he sin in another life because he's blind now?
And so,
or did his parents sin?
Did they take certain parts of it out, or did they take it out of the whole thing? You know, I've been
all of it. There were other things taken out. Those two were still in, and you can research it. Just go to Google. Go to Barnes and Noble's Reincarnation in Judaism, Reincarnation in Native American spirituality, Reincarnate. Well, we know it's in Hindu and Buddhism. It's everywhere. But see, the church doesn't want you to grasp that, because then there's no need for clergy. If I know that I'm going to come back and whatever I screwed up and whatever I did right, I will be rewarded for later anyway, because remember, it's a law like gravity. It's not personal. What I put out comes back to me. What goes around comes around. Karma. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's all the same thing. Then you don't need a priest to tell you what to do. Because the priest is not, you know that you will get your just reward. A lot of this stuff is political. This doesn't mean, no, it doesn't mean that you don't read the Bible. It doesn't mean that the Bible's no good and false. It just means that a lot of the stuff in the Bible was written by human beings with their own agendas. I mean, you know, in Leviticus, Yahweh says you're not supposed to touch a pigskin. Well, there goes the NFL. There goes the NBA. Okay? We're not going to stone people if they commit adultery. You're not going to throw rocks at people until they're dead. They did that 5,000 years ago, but that was ignorant. So because they did it 5,000 years ago means you're going to do it now? No, use your common sense.
So
just because someone said something 5,000 years ago doesn't mean that it works now.
So you know, so many people say though that it's bad to read any. Have you ever heard of? There's people out there that tell you it's bad to read other books, other ancient books, or other scripture that's not the Bible. I mean, I've always felt that I get the most knowledge out of all the ancient manuals. But you know, so I mean, what do you think are some other ones that people should go out and get? You know, what are some things people could buy that would help them?
I don't want to should all over people, so I'm not going to tell them what they should do. I'm just saying, read some other things that stretch you. Talk to people that you're uncomfortable with. If you're afraid of black people, get to know some. If you're afraid of white people, gay people, come outside your comfort zone. You know, you want to read some different translations of the Bible. Read something written by someone you don't like. That's always good. You ever find somebody you really don't like, but you're drawn to them anyway? They'll teach you a lot. Come outside your box. Expand your mind. Be uncomfortable. Okay? If you don't like Black Lives Matter, read some of the things they talk about. If you don't like country music, read something. Read about Robert E. Lee. I mean, come outside your comfort zone. That's how you grow. Let me share something with you.
Definitely.
There are two stories. I'll close with one, but okay. This is in my book, God Consciousness. This is about what, you know, we never know what is good or bad. Okay. The first story is about a Chinese farmer. He only had one broken down horse to help him do his work. One day his horse ran away. His neighbors came around to offer their condolences, and they said it was bad luck. The farmer said, good luck, bad luck? Who knows? It's hard to say. A week later, the horse returned, bringing with it 5 stallions. Again, the neighbor said, oh my God, this is good luck. He says, good luck, bad luck? It's hard to say. The farmer's nephew was taming the wild horses, and about a month later, the nephew fell, right? And he broke his leg. The neighbors came and said, oh, we're so sorry. It's bad luck. He said, good luck, bad luck? It's hard to say. 2 weeks after the accident, war was declared, and every able-bodied young man was conscripted. The old farmer's nephew didn't have to fight because his leg was broken. Every other man went to fight and he was killed. The farmer said, good news, bad news. So how do you know? It's hard to say.
That's a great.
It's hard to say.
That's a great one.
Okay. Here's one more. Here's one more. It's about religion. All right, here we go. A bishop is on a ship, and he goes by a small island, and the island is inhabited by hermits. So he goes ashore, the bishop, he wants to meet these people. And as he speaks with them, he tells them about prayer. And they say, oh, we always pray. You are three. We are three. Have mercy on us. The bishop was horrified. And he said, no, that's not the way you pray. Do the Lord's Prayer that's taught in the Gospel of Matthew. It took all day, but as the sun was setting, the hermits, they learned the Lord's Prayer, and the bishop went to sleep saying, boy, I did good. He was proud of himself. That evening, he heard people screaming outside on the deck. He went outside on the ship to see. He saw a golden glow moving toward him across the water. And as it got closer, the bishop, he saw the three hermits. They were running on top of the water. They said, Reverend Father, we're terribly sorry to trouble you, but we forgot the prayer. Can you tell us again the prayer that you taught us? The bishop went downstairs and went to sleep. But this time he said, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and learn rather than try and teach. Okay, he's trying to teach them the Lord's Prayer. They're running on water. So what's the moral? We can all learn from people. We don't all have all the answers. And it's okay not to have the answers.
Definitely.
It's okay to say, I don't know.
Well,
it's okay to say, I don't know.
Rev, I really appreciate you coming and talking to me, sir. You know,
yes.
I hope I don't seem like I'm like zoning out. I'm getting so much good information. My mind is contemplating all of it and just bouncing around with it. So I'm just kind of like taking it all in. And I just really appreciate you being here. So can you let everybody know one more time, because we've had a lot of viewers come in and other people are here that weren't, you know, everywhere they can find you and your books, and just give them another
yeah. Yeah, they can, you can find me at Amazon. My books are on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. Just type in Reverend Michael J.S. Carter. My email is michaeljscarter.com. I just wanted people to know that I was telling Rachel, I just finished a chapter for a book called Beyond UFOs, The Science of Consciousness and Contact with Non-Human Intelligence. Now, this is, I'm one of many authors, and they're talking about near-death experiences, UFOs, dreams, and it's called Free, RFEE. It was founded by the astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the late Edgar Mitchell. He was the sixth man to walk on the moon. Free stands for the Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial and Extraordinary Experiences. The book will be out in January on Barnes & Nobles. The chapter I wrote is called The Spiritual Transformation of Contactees, about people who've seen non-human intelligence. I'll let you know the next show I'm on. It's been a while, and it's been a pleasure for me to be here, and I thank you for this opportunity, and I hope we can do it again. Maybe when the book comes out.
Exactly. There's a tab that says similar to, and I didn't even see Reverend Carter on the show, but I watched a couple episodes of another show, and then I just heard him say it today that he was on there. And, you know, as many things as happened to me in my life, so often do I see these coincidences happen so close together, and I just can't say to myself that it was a coincidence anymore. It just seems like things are so meant to be. And if you pay attention in life, I know a lot of people won't agree with me. It's just my opinion. But one thing that so rang through right here is I've never talked to him before today. We only talked for maybe 5 minutes before I came on air. And I've been saying for months on this channel, you know, the same things about the ancient books. And I've been talking about how you know, when I said it, it was more towards the, I was upset about free speech because I was having some issues and getting taken down on a network. You guys know what happened. But what I'm saying is, I was saying like the same kind of thing about, you know, other people are going to disagree with you. And it's the one thing that I was seeing that was wrong was, you know, that's a good thing. I was looking at it like it's a good thing that people disagree with us. For one, that's the foundation of us being able to speak our mind. You know, if I speak my mind, it's probably 99% of the time going to be different from other people. There's no reason we should ever get mad at each other, get angry with each other, or, you know, have any negative or hateful thing happen just because we think differently about certain things. And that's one of the things that I'm going to take away from this conversation. And I'm just so thankful that it happened. And when my channel got taken off the air, I prayed. And I noticed the first 2 days that I couldn't go live here, I was saying, God, please don't let me lose my live show. Please, God. And that's so synchronistic. It's so coincidental. It's like it goes beyond coincidence that we got our channel back yesterday. Last night, we got our live streaming back. And then my first talk, he says that. And I was thinking it the third day when I was praying again that I wouldn't get my live stream taken from me. I was like, you know what? All I've been saying lately when I'm sitting here praying selfishly because like I'm so afraid of losing my live stream for 3 months if that strike sticks. But I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I got my live stream back and all good things are happening, especially this conversation and last night's conversation with Pete. So many good things are happening, and I'm thankful. And I'm going to say what I'm thankful for now because it is important. And I try to a lot, and I know I say this all the time, but I'm more grateful that I am just in the place to be able to do this now. You know, when I got out of the military, I was facing so many challenges that I didn't even know were challenges. I was taking medication. I didn't know it was so bad for me that it would turn me into a zombie, and it did. I didn't know that it would make me for like the next 6 years or 5 years after I started taking it. It made me unable to function or think for myself. So now to be in a position where I'm on this channel talking to great people like the Reverend and Pete and Alien Addict and Affected Collective and all the people we have in, man, such a great ride, man. This is such a great ride, man. I want to take this ride over and over for the rest of my life. I'm not stopping. And I urge you to try yourself. So, on my other channel, UNIRock Live, I decided that I'm going to start streaming all the time. But I'm going to do it when I'm working. So, you know, I have to set up all this stuff. You know, I have to program in all these animations you see, the screens you see, the billboard. I have to do the Skype calls. I have to make the front page for the chat or for the live show. So I've started doing like a live tutorial. I go live while I'm setting up the shows. I go live while I'm working in Photoshop, when I'm working in After Effects. Everything I do for the channel, I now do it live on my other channel, UNIRock Live. So if you're a YouTuber and you're like, well, dang, I like what Uni does with that, come into that live show and ask me, and I will show you step by step how to do anything you want to know. Because you know what? Information, knowledge, our feelings, our thoughts, they shouldn't have a price tag, you know, other than just what it costs to do it. And that's what, and it seems like that everyone else that comes on agrees. And, you know, you guys are the most supportive and kind people. That you've been that way to me. And I urge you to be that way with the Reverend also. Not only are you going to get, if you go out and go to Amazon and buy one of his books, not only are you going to get the book, but, I mean, you heard the Reverend. He knows what he's talking about. And he's got the message of us getting along, being peaceful, and bettering ourselves. So what better message, you know? That's all I got to say, man. I just wanted to give my thoughts at the end of this, and I did. So, you know what? He's going to regret the fact that he told me to get a hold of him, because I'm going to be getting a hold of him all the time, and I'm not even kidding. So look forward to Reverend Carter coming on as much as I can get him here. You know me, man. I love doing a show. I love having a live show. I love having a recorded show. And I'm excessive with it. I stream so much all day between my backup channel and this one. Just expect to see him on again. Okay, so what else do we have coming up? That's always a good thing to go. You guys reached out to me, so many of you, and said, man, we want to know when you're doing these shows. Make sure you tell us. So I'm doing it. Okay, so Monday, September 18th, Bill Madon from the channel Night Terrors will be coming on. And don't let the channel name sway you from checking out his channel, because some of you guys are going to say, ooh, Night Terrors, that sounds scary. He does great production videos. They're really good. Like, they're entertaining. And yeah, you know, it's good to research, but it's also good to be entertained. And he combines those two things into a great show. Let me show you his front page really quick. So on Monday, September 18th is when you'll see him here. Bill Madon from this channel, Night Terrors. I found him long ago, and I've always watched his stuff. You know, when he puts out something, I'll go watch it. You guys, you know me. I only recommend good stuff. So I recommend the Reverend stuff. I'm recommending Bill's stuff too. You'll see him on Monday. Okay. And on September 20th, David Sereda from Coast to Coast AM will be right here for an interview. And it'll be a good one. Also, next month, which it's almost next month. It's the date right now. I'm going to have to look because I'm a busy dude. I don't even pay attention. We got 15 days left of this month. We've got half the month coming up. So, next month, you just heard the Reverend say he'll be back. I've got 2 other cast members who have been on Ancient Aliens coming in. One is, he was on a lot, and he was on at the same time the Reverend was too. And he's really, I'll just say this. He's really, he's just as educated as the Reverend and Brian Forster on his topics. And he's into the archaeology and all the other stuff like Brian was. You're gonna really like to see him. It's Graham. So anyway, I'm gonna get his full name and get it pulled up. I'm sorry I can't remember right now. You know me, when I do a live chat, I really soak in everything that's being said. And not only do I remember it because I like to go back and video edit new shows using the interview and putting pieces in, but I want to take in all of what the Reverend said and really try to take everything I can from it. So that's the only reason I can't remember Graham's last name. So that's what we have going on. We have at least 3 interviews set up for next month that I'm going to program into the channel this weekend so that you'll know what time and all that, and you can be here for it. And make sure, if you like my show, you like what I'm trying to do, which is just giving you guys guests, just like the people you've seen that really have a message to give and can give us insight on things that are happening around us right now. That's one thing I'm trying to do, but I'm also trying to unite YouTube. I'm trying to get more of the creators who have been, they have their own big community. They have these huge list of subscribers. All of us have a lot of subscribers. We are out on all these networks. I want to try to get everybody united together into places like Discord, which is a chat service that we provide for everybody. You could share videos, you could share links. So, you know, we've got Discord. The link is right over there. You can come in and talk to us at any time. You can suggest videos. If any of you have suggested anything to me, I'm working to go through my messages. I apologize. It takes time. So, anyway, trying to unite YouTube, make you great videos, cover the things that come out in the world, and still give you a good insight, my insight on the conspiracies, the topics, while making sure I give you both sides of every argument. If you like that, go check out my backup channel because I stream all the time there. Lastly, but not leastly, if you like what you saw, consider, I'm saying consider, donating on PayPal. The link is at the top right-hand corner of the screen because we do have bills, and that's the only reason I ask. I'm not trying to get rich or take advantage of anyone. I just want to pay for what it costs me to be here every day. So as long as I keep that paid, I can keep making videos. It's not a lot, and you guys have been generous as far as it goes now. Check me out on Patreon too. I keep forgetting. My team keeps getting mad. because Patreon is basically the way that YouTubers stay on the air now. You guys know. The way that ads have come out on YouTube, you know, we can't make money off ads like we used to be able to. We can't make money off of our videos like we used to. So I just, hopefully you guys will consider going to Patreon, and even if you only pledge $1, it gives you access to anything you want. I mean, I'll do a call with you, I'll do a chat with you anytime you want. I want to be there for the people that fund this. I want to be there for all of you, but I have to put priority to the people that fund it, just to make sure that you guys are paying me to make videos, basically by donating. So I'm going to be here for you. If you're a patron, I want to work on a separate email address that I only give my patrons, so that anytime you mail me, I can be right there for you. All those things are coming up. Sorry to keep talking. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's been a long show. And I got to get ready to go on my other channel to continue the tech vlog and do a little bit of work inside my channel, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you, if you have a YouTube channel, how to spruce it up. You know, a lot of people make them and they don't know, they don't have their front page set up, because it's actually hard to find. It's really hard to set up your front page on YouTube. Well, guess what? I'm going to hook you up. It'll tell your subscribers when you're live. It'll show whatever video you want to put on the front, and you'll be able to list lists of all the different kinds of videos you have in a database form, so your subscribers can go in and find the videos that you want to show them from your library. That's going on my tech channel later tonight. Okay, now, I almost forgot. I can't believe it. I got to do the last thing that I always do. Pull up that live chat and talk to you guys. I only have a couple minutes. I'm hungry. I got to make dinner. So let's do this. Any UNIRock signs, I try to catch them. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, type my name. It shows up red. Okay. Skies Above, UNIRock, what a great show. Thank you. I agree. I mean, he's such a good researcher, such a good minister, and such a good... He's just got the message, man. He's got the message to give us. So, you know, we got to listen. James C., UNIRock, great show. Would love a... Hey, you know you get that every night, James. I'm just playing. So I do play a video game on my backup channel. Not here. Don't get scared and run. On my backup channel. We're doing that tonight. I'm playing that game. And it's updated. We got new weapons. New vehicles. We're going to hook it up for you. Dead GPK. Great job getting this guest on. You guys, it was all UNIRock. Even the Reverend said, how did you guys get a hold of me? And I said, I don't know. I said it was all Rachel. So I made Rachel come over here and sit in my seat and talk to the Reverend for a little bit before we went on the air, because she did a great job getting him on. She's done a great job. So as of right now, she has 4 of the cast members of Ancient Aliens coming in, 2 people off of the radio, and I mean national radio shows coming in, and then she's got interviews set up that I don't even know about. I haven't even looked. We haven't had our meeting yet. I don't know. She's just like crazy with this stuff, man. I don't know how she does it. I'm not even kidding. I gotta ask her. Oh, hey, man. Thanks, Hybrid Healing. No joke. Such a good conversation. I learned a lot. I'm not even just saying that, you guys. Seriously. Can you make a Rapture stream for September 23rd? Jonar Games. I can, my bro. Rapture? Is it a game? Hit me up on my backup channel in about, I'd say maybe like, what time is it? 8:30. In about an hour, hour and a half, I'll be live on my backup channel, if not sooner. Let me know there. We'll get that set up. Because yes, I play any game you guys want me to play. All you got to do is let me know. Okay. Which is better, PayPal or Patreon? I did both. Roro, you always donate, and thank you so much. Well, here's how it works. If you want to make a one-time donation, PayPal's the way to go. If you want to donate like $1 or whatever, $5 every month, Patreon's the way to go. That's the only difference. They're both the same thing. They're both excellent options, and you guys can choose whatever way you want. I never complain. I just appreciate it. I can't type, man. Jojo, what happened? Okay, guys. You know me. I said my goal earlier, but I left out the most important thing. I just want to provide a place for you and I to get together and look at anything that's going on. So I hope to see all you guys over and over every day that you have time. And if you need anything, all you got to do is hit me up. Yes, I had to take a breath. I'm going there. But until you do, hey, I'm going. Until you do, be nice in those comments, y'all, because those are people on the other side, so you should always be kind. Just never be afraid to speak your mind. Because you know I do it all the time, baby,
Houston, after serving the world for over 30 years, the space shuttle has come to a final stop.
We copy your world stop, and we'll take this opportunity to congratulate you, Atlanta.
Best wishes.